Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a miserable Monday production. Today, just one game, but this encapsulates my last weekend. As you may know if you watch my stream, I rage quit the other day. I think it was a Friday, and just nothing's been going right this week, really, to be honest. Earlier in the week it was okay, but Friday was the straw that broke the camel's back. So it just was a case of I was playing poorly. My teams were playing poorly, so unless I played really well, my teams just completely collapsed. And so I wasn't getting those carry games where even if you are mediocre, you still win a couple of those along the way. Those just weren't falling for me at all, and I was not playing good enough to turn in my direction. And then when I did play well, my teams were not good either. So I'm not sitting here saying that the teams were stacked against me or there was some kind of ill intent by the game to get me, but it just was one of those game sessions and series of game sessions where stuff happens, man. You know, the game has a lot of RNG, it's got the dispersion, there's a lot of randomness in the game that comes out to include the randomness of the matchmaker, who your teammates are, how they happen to play on that particular map, the setup of tanks matchmaker wise, although on this one I didn't really see any massive issues with the way the tanks were set up on this one. But, I get this Minotauro. He's a tier 10 Scipio, and he just blazes into the middle in a place I don't know if I've ever seen ATD just drive into. And so then the 268-4, to his credit, actually, taking advantage of everybody shooting at the Minotauro, he and I now start working on these guys who aren't really paying attention. I'm getting a little lucky with the auto aim. 50 TP isn't really paying attention to me, but they're about to kill the Minotauro off. I'm going to get one more shot into him. Again, a little lucky. I probably needed to be actually aiming. I'm just going to get away from the 50 TP. He doesn't get a shot. He shoots the 168, though. 268 comes in there. Minotauro is somehow still alive, so good on him. We're going to shoot this guy in the back. I'm worried about the CS52 LIS coming around the corner and punishing me. Let's finish this guy off if we can. I'm going to get out of the way of the 168-01. I'm going to get hit by Artie. Fix that. He pokes in there. We got to kill this defender. Then we can kill the KPZ. Then we can deal with the Barask, because it doesn't look like they have a whole bunch up in the field, to be honest. But if you notice over in the city, all we have is a Caliban, Kunza, and the Kron's kind of the back, and our T-62A is guarding artillery. Probably smartly, actually, because look at the big beef on the purple team that's now pushing into the city right there. I've got 970. I'm going to support this 268. We'll come in and shoot that guy in the back. I'm going to try to avoid getting barraged here. Come in here. I probably should have... Again, I'm doing a lot of auto-aiming on this particular one. I'm going to wait for him to come around. There we go. I have a couple of examples of that, actually, waiting for the guy to clear your buddy's tank so you can get a shot right there. And he was kind of smart trying to get around and block my shots with my own teammate. And we're going to end up with the STB here in a minute, and the same thing's going to kind of happen. He plays well doing the same thing. Now, the 268, I don't know. He just drives in there and goes after the Barask. Looks like the Barask might get around, and we put a shot on that guy. Boom, he dies. I mean, I don't even know. Maybe, was that even a side shot? What is the... Which way is that guy facing? I'm very surprised. Like, I don't even... Yeah, it was a side shot. Looks like the Barask got to the side of the 268. So we take that dude down. Now, the STB has a pretty good game over there, and I don't think he notices what's going on behind him. Not until I come around and start shooting him in the side. I do have a VK with me, and the E50, I don't know. He's... whatever. He's all the way back there. Oh, yeah. So he doesn't see me. I'm going to shoot him. Then I'm going to back out. There we go. So... smart enough to know he's being shot from another direction. Here he comes. I've got the 168P. Oh, I left him on 12 hit points. I didn't realize that till now. It's the perfect amount of hit points. I want the 168 to go around, go after this guy. I was worried he might cut me off, but he did a nice job of not doing so. Thumps him. I'll thump him. Now watch the STB. Does a nice job. All right, big mistake on my part. I should have gone forward and blocked him from getting around on the 168, or at least forced him to the other side. That was bad on me. And then he's doing a nice job using my teammate there, but we shot. I tried to ram him, didn't quite get the turn in. So he tears up the 168 pretty well. And then the E50, I don't know what the hell he's doing. It goes around that way. Now I've got to spin this one. I'm just going to, come on. There we go. Right through that little opening there. Honestly, dude did a really nice job on that 168. Absolutely tore him up if we end up getting the kill on him. So now the, what is it? Centurion P prototype is there, but you'll notice that the city's in big trouble, and while it looks kind of even, tanks-wise, we are 2,000 hit points down, guys. That's because they're tier 10s. Most of them, if not all but one are still in the game. So we only have one. We have the Kron. That's the only tier 10 we've got left, so I'm going to work with this E50L. I'm not really sure what the hell he's doing. He goes off that way. They have all their tanks together. That's going to be tough, right? We got 3 9s and already some 8s. They've got 3 10s and 3 9s. Just higher quality. They're up 3,000 hit points. We got to close this guy out if we can. I make a mistake here and let this guy have a shot on me. I'm just waiting for a reload. I push in here and he shoots me. That's a shot I did not need to take. We had plenty of guys sitting out there that he could have shot. Those are those little mistakes you got to watch out for and try not to make in situations like this. I missed that guy crossing. Another mistake. I had a decent shot on the 110E4. I don't think it would have turned this around, but it was some more damage I could have got. Kron takes a hit. We go this way. I'm sort of unfamiliar with this part of the map, to be honest. I don't fight here very much. This is in counter mode, so these are covered up a little bit, and I just can't quite get a shot. The 257 backs out. Then I see, then I see the JPZ. Let's not sit there. That JPZ drops 1,000 on me. As a matter of fact, towards the end of this, he's the guy that gets me. And now at this point, I'm looking at this going, well, you try to change the angles. Maybe we can whittle a couple of these guys down, but they just have a lot of hit points. They have 3,787 more hit points. Bigger tanks. I'm like, oh, be a good deal if I can just kill off this guy. No, ricochet. Great. That was helpful. Shot probably went high and went into his turret. 110E4 is there. And I'm up to 4,000 damage, guys. Just 711 assists, but there's no way really to pull this back. I mean, it could be epic. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's highly improbable. Let's just shoot this guy. Nope, that's a miss. Had just a little sliver of something to hit. And I'm like, let's see if we can shoot one of these guys. Here we go. Boom, bounce. Oh, it just went pear-shaped. All right, we'll just reposition, man. It's no problem. You know, you're trying to bring this thing back. It's just me. It's going to be an epic comeback. 4,000 hit points down. It's not happening, my friends. And it was just a game I do well in right here in terms of damage, but the team was almost never really in this game, to be quite honest. Just the way it went. Their tier 10s all together. Took us a while to beat up their guys in the field. We lost our tier 10s. And then at the end of the game, trying to make this happen. It was just one of those sessions where this kind of thing happens. And you got to really try to let that stuff roll off your back, even as I don't always accomplish that myself. Hence the rage quit. And this wasn't the game, it was a different game that did that. This was a little bit later in the day, actually, when I came back to try to play and have a little fun. And I do have fun, even when I'm rage quitting. That's part of the fun, to be quite honest. Sometimes, anyway. But you have to be able to look at these things objectively with the way this game is done. And frankly, even the very best players just have random stuff happen that they can't control. They do their best in terms of positioning and decision making to minimize the impact of the RNG and the randomness of teammates, the matchmaker, the map that you're on, the mode that you're on, the RNG, the dispersion, all of the things that go into this game, ammo racks, exploding gas tanks, all that kind of stuff in there. Bummer critical hits, getting your gun destroyed just as you're trying to shoot to kill somebody, that kind of random stuff that goes on. So they do their best to try to minimize it, but just understand they can't always do that. And really that's the skill part of this game, where you get good enough and you start to get good enough to make good decisions and good positioning, and then react to the flow such that bad things, when they happen, don't affect you as much. Even though sometimes you just get into a bottom tier game with tier 10s and your tier 8 medium, you drop 4,000 damage and a couple kills, and you're not even actually in the game. You're not even really close to winning. You did about everything you could do. And while there are a lot of situations where I could have made better decisions in there, in any game that's always true, you're always going to find in this game, because of the randomness, not always, Not always as in every game, but it will always be there. Shit happens. And just to top it off, as I'm trying to get away, and I'm thinking, how do I get a few more points of damage? These are pretty heavily armored tanks, but let's try to figure out. First thing I have to do is get away from all these guys who are chasing me, so I will just head south and see what I can do.
Bail out. This vehicle has had it.
And there you go. Sometimes the JPZ is waiting for you to cross the open spot, and there's just not a whole lot you can do. Although, frankly, I could have noticed that he was pointing right there if I'd have been paying attention, and maybe I don't make that move across the open spot. What that would have meant is I either dive into this area back here, which was probably a decent last stand position, to be quite honest, right there, or I just stop here and wait for him to come around the corner and maybe get another 200 hit points. Or even better, I low roll like 178 or something. All right, guys, I hope you have a better Monday than this right here. We will see you later.